Hello guys, welcome to my channel, The Movies Recapped. Today, we are going to talk about the first two episodes of the newly released and trending Korean drama, called Black Knight. Black Knight is a 2023 South Korean streaming television series written and directed by Cho Yoo-seok. It is based on the webtoon of the same title by Lee Yun-kyan. It depicts a dystopian future where extensive air pollution has become a huge problem after a comet destroyed most of the world. This has forced the surviving people to depend on elite delivery drivers for their survival. Before we delve further into the video, please take some time to consider subscribing to my channel and pressing the bell icon to stay notified about all my upcoming recaps. Let's get into the video without any further delay. In 2071, extreme air pollution has turned the majority of the Korean peninsula into a wasteland after a comet collided with the Earth, causing continents to sink into the sea and wiping out all but 1% of the original population. The remaining population has been divided into three groups who live in segregated districts based on their social status and QR codes. The first group, called the core, is where the high-class elite people live, controlling and governing the area. In the second district, there reside other special individuals, while in the last district, known as the general district, common people live. The remaining members have been left to adapt to life as refugees. However, despite the challenging circumstances, technological advancements have made the place survivable. The refugees are required to wear respirators and rely on the Knights, specialized delivery drivers, to provide them with necessary supplies, particularly fresh oxygen, to sustain their lives. They have constructed a gigantic air core designed to convert oxyanium to oxygen for the oxygen supply. Unfortunately, the refugees become weary of the discrimination they face. In response, they reinvent themselves as deliverymen. These deliverymen, in their quest to serve their community, resort to stealing valuable goods and redistributing them among those in need. However, they face great challenges along the way. They must be strong to protect their cargo and fend off the hunters, who seek to kill them and seize their QR codes. QR codes are possessed by everyone except the refugees, leaving them with no other means of obtaining one. In the Gangnam refugee district, there is a courageous refugee named Seo-wol. He dreams of becoming a deliveryman, inspired by the famous 5'8". In a confrontation with some boys, Seo-wol's friends watch him from inside a truck. Seo-wol emerges victorious, defeating the boys and acquiring some oxygen and masks as his spoils. Meanwhile, 5'8 heads to the general district, where he is revered as the most renowned and powerful deliveryman. Being a deliveryman offers a means for a refugee to escape the oppressive existence they face, and 5'8, in particular, is highly respected by the immigrant community. He receives a message and proceeds to deliver oxygen to a house. Upon scanning the QR code, he enters a house where the oxygen level has plummeted to a mere 10%. There, 5'8 encounters an elderly man and questions why he didn't order oxygen earlier, as it is advised to request oxygen when the percentage drops to 20. 5'8 replaces the oxygen cylinders for the old man, who expresses his gratitude. Upon scanning his QR code, the old man reveals that he hasn't ordered food for several days and only has a few coins left. He asserts that he is better off than the refugees. At that moment, 5'8 receives an emergency message about a fellow deliveryman being captured by hunters. The deliveryman has been brutally beaten, and his oxygen supply has been stolen. When the hunters attempt to cut off his hand to obtain the QR code, 5'8 arrives on the scene and confronts them. Engaging in a fight, he defeats the hunters but spares their leader, instructing him never to be seen again. He then leaves with the rescued deliveryman. Meanwhile, Seo-wol ventures out and witnesses refugees being apprehended in the general district. Knowing that harboring a refugee is harshly punished, he quickly leaves the area and stealthily enters a house. However, he is confronted and beaten by a female soldier. This soldier turns out to be Major Jung Hae-ra from the Defense Intelligence Command, who has been looking after Seo-wol. Hae-ra and Seo-wol have been providing shelter to Seo-wol for over a decade. It becomes evident that Seo-wol's attempts to obtain a QR code for Seo-wol through official channels have been unsuccessful, implying that there are forces actively working to maintain the current state of affairs. Seo-wol, in fact, had been training Seo-wol through their confrontations. Learning that Seo-wol had left their residence, she punishes him by informing him that refugees are being arrested. Seo-wol's sister acknowledges Seo-wol's talents and improved fighting skills. Seo-wol questions her sister if she is also helping him train and venture outside the restricted zone. Her sister cautions them about the risks of going outside. As punishment, Seo-wol instructs Seo-wol to stay at home for the next 15 days. Later that night, 5'8 returns to his home and receives a message inviting him to a meeting. The Chinmyeong group is a select few who benefit from the current situation. It consists of a father and son duo who founded the group. The son, who is the chairman's son, is shown heading to the core district and entering the company's head office. Inside, the chairman and the company president are seen engaged in a mysterious discussion. They mention the increasing population in the special district, which is built underground. To address this issue, they are covertly constructing a new district. The chairman questions his son about not reporting the project to the government. The son argues that the Chinmyeong group is the reason for the existence of this world and therefore sees no need to inform the government. The chairman instructs his son to simply follow his orders as the CEO. Despite Seol-ah's warning, Seo-wol once again escapes from his house. He reunites with his three friends and embarks on an adventure to catch up with 5/8's truck. They hold a signboard signaling to slow down the speed and place it on the road. 5/8 is scheduled to pass by that road while traveling to District A. When 5/8 approaches the signboard, his truck automatically slows down due to the speed limit indication. The boys quickly chase after the truck and manage to climb onto its roof. However, 5/8 becomes suspicious and observes the boys through the camera feed. Aware of their mischievous nature, he drives the truck erratically, attempting to shake them off. The other boys fall off during this chaotic ride, but Seo-wol successfully enters the truck. He tries to introduce himself to 5/8, but the disinterested 5/8 kicks him out and continues on his way. While 5/8 is guided to District A, Seol-ah and a few other DIC members happen to be there, searching for information. Meanwhile, an old man in the refugee camp detects signs of an approaching storm and initiates an emergency siren. 5/8 is still en route, but due to the storm, he must temporarily halt his journey. Once the storm subsides, he resumes his route toward the designated location. Upon arriving at the gate of District A, Seol-ah requests permission to enter, but the chief guard denies them entry. Seol-ah wonders about the tight security. Even military personnel are not allowed inside. She ponders the reason behind such secrecy. During the night, when 5/8 arrives, Seol-ah confronts him, inquiring about his identity and purpose there. He explains that he got lost due to the storm. Seol-ah scans his QR code to obtain his information and allows him to proceed. On the other hand, Seo-wol returns home, where Seol-ah locks him up in an empty room to prevent him from escaping again. He tries to assure her that he won't do it again, but she remains skeptical. Seol-ah informs him that she has stocked enough food for him to last 15 days in the delivery boxes. Meanwhile, 5/8 encounters a girl in the refugee camp who is suffering from oxygen deprivation. He quickly provides her with the necessary oxygen. She reveals that her father went to arrange oxygen for her and expresses her desire to become a deliveryman when she grows up. 5/8 meets up with another friend and learns that their informant is missing. He informs his friend that the Air Corps has been relocated to District A and they need to take action. They are opposed to the construction of District A and intend to put a stop to it. They team up and assist the refugees by providing them with oxygen and food. Back at home, Seo-wol is engrossed in playing a video game when the doorbell rings. Seol-ah answers the door and is delighted to see a deliveryman, recognizing him as 5/8, whom she admires as a fan. She takes a selfie with him before he departs. Unfortunately, Seo-wol misses this encounter as he is forcefully confined to the locked room. Seol-ah obsessively watches the selfie she took with 5/8 when the doorbell rings again. She opens the door to find a team of assassins barging in. They restrain her and attempt to inject her with something. Hearing the commotion, Seo-wol tries to break free from the room. One of the assassins shoots at his door, causing it to break, and Seo-wol manages to escape. He fights back, beating and killing a few of the assailants. However, Seol-ah gets shot in the process and is presumably dead. Soon after, Seo-wol is shot from behind by an unknown person. 5/8, who hadn't gone too far, hears the sound of gunshots and quickly returns. He bursts into the scene and overhears someone reporting over the phone that they have killed their target. Instead of facing capture, the assassin chooses to take their own life. 5/8 investigates and notices the same triangle-shaped tattoos on the bodies of the assassins. After assessing the situation, he discovers Seo-wol, who is severely injured but still alive. He contacts the police to report the incident and takes Seo-wol, unconscious and in critical condition, with him in his truck. During the drive, 5/8 realizes that Seo-wol is the same boy who had followed him earlier. He decides to bring him to one of his friends, 4-1. Seol-ah returns home and discovers her deceased sister. The other bodies have been removed from the scene, but they review the entire incident through the video footage. Her senior confirms that it is related to a series of identical kidnapping cases occurring in the general district, but this time it escalated to straight-up murder. Seo-wol dreams about the time he was first brought to Seol-ah's and Seol-ah's home 10 years ago. He recalls being wounded and waking up to Seol-ah informing her sister that he had regained consciousness. Seol-ah reveals that he is a refugee child and asks for his name, to which he responds, opening his eyes. Seo-wol sees 4-1 providing him with medical treatment. He remembers that he couldn't save his sister and attempts to run away, but 5/8 intervenes to stop him. After Seo-wol insists on going to District A despite being told that Seol-ah is dead, they decide to administer an injection to make him unconscious. 4-1 shows 5/8 the bullet they retrieved from Seo-wol's head, which was found damaged instead of harming him. They examine Seo-wal's foot and notice a strange metallic object protruding from his wound, raising their curiosity. Seo-la, determined to find Seo-wal's whereabouts since his body hasn't been found, initiates an investigation and visits her grandfather's house to inquire about Seo-wal's frequent visits. Seo-la contacts 5-8 for questioning, as he was the first witness to the murder. She harbors suspicions about him as well. However, 5-8 defends himself, stating that if he had been involved, why would he have called the police? Seo-la asks if he noticed anything peculiar about the bodies of the assassins, but 5-8 decides to keep his findings to himself, intending to investigate further. Seo-la tries to ascertain if Seo-wal's body was present at the scene, as the camera footage didn't provide a clear view of the faces. During a meeting between 5-8 and Grandpa, they speculate that Seo-wal might be a mutant. 5-8 reveals that the bullet that struck Seo-wal ricocheted harmlessly off him, indicating a unique condition. He hints at a possible connection between Seo-wal's condition, the increasing kidnappings, and his father's involvement with the Oxyanium mines. They also discuss how Deliverman 5-7 served as the main link between the general districts and how Ryu Seok of the Chinmyeong group orchestrated the kidnappings. However, 5-7 begins to have a change of heart after witnessing the horrific experiments conducted on the abducted individuals. Ryu Seok convinces him that this will be the final operation, assuring him of freedom and an easy life afterward. Nevertheless, Ryu Seok controls his staff by implanting a device in their heads, capable of killing them with the touch of a button. Ryu Seok meets his father, who inquires about the situation in Zona and the murder in the general district. Ryu informs his father that he has come to report him, but his father reveals that he already has all the information. He shows Ryu the public on-camera screens and asks him what does he see. Ryu responds, stating that he sees only useless people who believe everything belongs to them. He asserts that one day, his father will be proud of him, emphasizing that Chinmyeong is not just his own. Meanwhile, 5-8 encounters another Deliverman and discusses the escalating kidnappings in the refugee camps. The other Deliverman informs him that he has planted a tracker on a child who was subsequently kidnapped. They track the location and manage to kill numerous kidnappers, rescuing the abducted children. 5-8 notices the same triangle tattoo on the bodies of the deceased kidnappers. As 5-8 resumes driving his truck, he notices another truck on the road, recognizing it as the one used by Deliverman 5-7. He boards the truck and finds 5-7 attempting suicide. 5-8 intervenes to prevent him from taking his own life and proceeds to question him. He asks 5-7 about his role as the link for the kidnappers and inquires about the tattooed men and their affiliation with Chinmyeong. However, before Ryu Seok can eliminate him from a distance, Deliverman 5-7 only manages to mention the experiments in passing. He dies shortly after, when Ryu presses the button on the device in his body. Ryu's assistant, who is 5-7's relative, tries to intervene but fails to stop Ryu. 5-8 examines 5-7's body and notices something peculiar about his neck. Ryu asks his assistant if he did something wrong, and the terrified assistant assures him that 5-7 deserved his fate. Ryu inquires about the current situation, asking if the murdered girl was a major's sister. If the major poses a threat to them, the assistant confirms that the girl's father worked in the Oxyanium mines and reveals that the major was born afterward. However, he forgets to provide further information before Ryu presses the device's button to kill him. Seeing that it's not functioning properly, Ryu stops the process, leaving his assistant alive but reminding him not to forget the pain he just experienced. With 5-7's death, his position remains vacant, and pamphlets are distributed for the post. Competitions are held to determine the best candidate for the job, and all the Delivermen gather to practice fighting. 5-8 and his two friends observe the fights, and one of his friends mentions hearing the news that 5-7 died due to exhaustion, mocking the idea of dying from tiredness. They discuss their anticipation for finding a better replacement for 5-7 in their mission. A Deliverman challenges 5-8 to a fight, and with a smile to his friend, 5-8 accepts. However, the opponent proves to be no match for 5-8, as he easily defeats him with a single punch. It is revealed that Ryu Seok is acting without his father's knowledge. In contrast, his father genuinely believes in the air cores and wishes to use them for the betterment of mankind. Ryu recalls his father's words about success changing people's minds. Seo-la's death deeply affects both Seo-la and Seo-wal. Seo-wal enters Seo-la's apartment and looks at pictures of himself in Seo-la, while Seo-la is occupied with the investigation. When Seo-la returns, she finds Seo-wal there. It is then revealed that Seo-wal was adopted by Seo-la during the cleansing of refugees who opposed the Chinmyeong group. Disgusted by her own actions, Seo-la spared the remaining survivors and secretly brought Seo-wal home. However, Seo-wal can no longer stay with Seo-la. He gets emotional, apologizing for failing to protect his sister. In a poignant moment, Seo-la bids him farewell, giving him his bag and a vial containing Seo-la's ashes before sending him to stay with his companions. Seo-wal decides to confront the gang he defeated during the previous fight, seeking punishment for his guilt. He asks them to hurt him or even kill him. Although his companions try to intervene, they can't stop him from getting injured, leaving him unconscious for several days. When Seo-wol regains consciousness, he participates in a competition organized by Ryu Seok, believing it to be an opportunity to fulfill his dream of becoming a delivererman. Unbeknownst to Seo-wol, Ryu Seok is using the competition to find a new link for the general districts. In the final scene, Seo-wol stands in the middle of the street as 5/8's truck approaches. Recognizing Seo-wol, 5/8 ironically thinks that this is an amazing way to meet. He accelerates towards Seo-wol, and the episode ends with this suspenseful moment. Thanks for watching.